So if I could share with you guys a way to, in just 7 days, get this perfect case study showcasing a shitload of leads coming from, marketing activity like Google My Business, and you could do it in 7 days or less.
Welcome to Show Me the Nuggets, where each week Joe chats with world-class entrepreneurs to find out the key principles, strategies, and processes that lie behind their outstanding achievements. Now, your host, the no bullshit serial entrepreneur, Joe Troyer.
So next up is the perfect case study. So again, once you've gone through and you've picked your niche, you've set your filter criteria, you've set up your packaging, and that includes these considerations and your 12 months of fulfillment and client updates for your deliverables. Next is we got to figure out what's the one thing that we can share with them that's going to get them to essentially sell themselves. So at the end of the day, if you can show one thing, right, that will get the customer excited, that will undoubtedly help you get the sale, as long as you're in front of the right niche, the niche that case study's in, and you're in front of filtered prospects, the right prospects, that the case study will sell the deal. So I want you guys to think through this with me. So the first thing is that it's obviously got to tie to your packaging, right? Like you can't have this be all about Facebook ads and then your service delivery and your package doesn't include Facebook ads. Otherwise, it won't make sense. So you got to figure out what's the thing that I could do? What's the thing that I could show them that would make everybody want to say, yes, that's that perfect prospect? What's the perfect case study? What's the thing that if you had it, you think you could close almost every ideal prospect? What's that look like? Because again, most of you guys are using case studies and testimonials that frankly, they don't apply to the right niche. They don't attract or help sell your perfect customer. So what's the point? Like, it's just fluff. Like, and I'm sure you guys would all agree, there's way too much fucking fluff in our lives today, right? Like, if you want fluff, go scroll on Facebook or go watch a never-ending stream of YouTube videos or Netflix videos, right? So what's the one thing that's going to get the job sold? So I have found that when you are selling low price things, you get the wrong buyer, okay? So consistent leads is good. Low price doesn't mean anything. In a market, there's always people that are willing to pay high and pay low. Why wouldn't you want to work with a client that's willing to pay high? If they're willing to pay you twice as much as the other person, wouldn't you want to work with them as long as they're your ideal client? So like cheap is relative. A good example, right? You work with one roofer, that's your ideal client. You get them started running, let's say, Google Ads. And 30 days later, you have a meeting with them. And let's say that we did 2 at a time. You did 2 companies in the same market in Louisville, Kentucky, that were roofers and that were the same ideal prospects, right? And you ran Google Ads for them for 30 days for both of them. It was the same budget. They all got the same results. You're going to have 2 very different conversations at the end. Chances are one of them is going to be like, yeah, Joe, that was great. Yeah, first 30 days, but we didn't make any money. And the other one's going to go, that was freaking amazing. We're on course to add 30% to our bottom line. Thank you. Which do you want to work with? I really want to press upon you guys that if you go after the right customer, it's one step closer, right, in that filtering criteria, but it doesn't mean it's 100%. And even if you took all the variables out of it, you went after 2 quote unquote perfect customers with the right filter in the right market, you're still going to have 2 different expectations of how it went. Okay, so just think that through. If I just said this, right, for a local business like a roofer, a dentist, something else, what somebody would consider a shitload of leads, not like unheard of, unattainable, but just a lot of lead flow, right? Would that do 90% of the sales pitch as long as you packaged everything correctly you filtered out correctly and you picked the right niche, then why don't you have a case study showing a shitload of leads, right? If you were able to show like, hey, I do local marketing, I do, Google, I do Facebook, I do local, organic, whatever, and here's call volume, right, from a dentist, right, as an example case study. Here's what's possible. Right? You guys all said that would basically give you lay down sales as long as you packaged correctly, you filtered correctly, and you went after the right niche. So why don't you guys have this? Like, what's the problem? What's missing? What's the issue? Why don't you guys have this shitload of leads case study? Why don't you already have that? Why don't you have this perfect sales tool? And I just want honesty because I want you guys thinking through this. I want you guys to be honest so that you can execute on this and actually have a change happen. So if I could share with you guys a way to, in just 7 days, get this perfect case study, showcasing a shitload of leads coming from, marketing activity like Google My Business, and you could do it in 7 days or less, because that's what I'm prepared to show you guys. I'm going to show you guys exactly how to get this done in 7 days, and you'll never have to deal with the proof and the social example and the case study and the testimonial. I'll teach you guys how to do this in just 7 days. So here's the problem. Like most of you guys, if you went about building a case study of a shitload of leads, very speculative, but just shitload of leads, you guys would do something like, all right, my niche was chiropractors. Okay. Then my filter is this. Okay. Then my package, right? Because I just took you guys through this, right? My package is this. Then I need to start a marketing campaign to bring in these customers. And then in 3 to 6 months, when I get the result, when results are in, equals case study. How many of you guys, that's what goes through your head? You're willing to admit, when you think about case study and results and a testimonial, this is what it looks like. This is what good looks like. This is how it plays out in your head. Understand that this is complete and utter, excuse me, but fucking bullshit. Think outside the fucking box. The goal is 7 days to show a screenshot of somebody ranked in Google Maps and showing, let's call it 40 plus calls per week. And depending on the market, that could be a shitload. Depending on the market, that could not. Let's pretend it's a shitload. How do we get there in 7 days? Here's what I would do, folks. So this isn't some bullshit. This maybe will work. I'm going straight for it. I'm putting my filter at the top. So let's say I want to go after chiropractors. I'm saying chiropractors. I'm hitting that first filter criteria, right? Like, how many hygienists do you have, right? Like that question that we went through. But then I'm getting right to the gold, folks. Ranking in 3-pack. That's the only way that they're going to have that call volume from Google Maps, right? And then I'm making them a foot in the door offer, which could be free or paid, right? To build my case study in 7 days or less. Does that make sense? Is that sinking in? So this could be, we do a GMB audit and we fix some things and we add call tracking so that we can show the call volume that's coming in. And yes, for those of you guys that don't know, you can add call tracking to Google My Business and not mess up the NAP. Just go to Google, do a search for how to add call tracking to Google My Business. You'll see digital triggers come up and there's a post walking you guys through step-by-step how to do it, okay? But guys, fuck that. Why would we do the GMB audit and fix things? Like, why can't we just go right for this? So why doesn't the foot in the door just be, I'll do call tracking for you? You go set up call tracking, it gets updated, the calls start getting routed through your call tracking platform of choice, and now you have call volume to show. Here's an example of a chiropractor in Chicago ranking in Google My Business, generating 35 calls a week. Do you guys understand how all of you guys are playing this head down game and you're in the box and you're not looking outside of it? Like, skip steps 1 through 10 and let's just go from 1 to 10. Like, just jump over 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 and just go straight for it. I'm going to say this again. If you're trying to show proof of rankings in Google Maps that drive phone calls, and that would be the thing that gets you a customer on the other end of the line that is basically pre-sold and saying, Scott, where do I sign the contract? All that you got to do is show them results. So how do you get results? Again, think about the fastest way to the money. Think about the fastest way to get there. Don't go do this, right? Go find the people that are already ranking and offer services to them so that you have results to show. They already have results. Stop going through all of these 10 steps. Don't go do this. Go find people in that vertical, chiropractors, if that's your niche. Filter out your first question, right? Then filter out and ask them if they're getting that return. If not, don't talk to them. Talk to them and see how you can help them. And so you have that case study and that social proof. And you could do a before and after if you wanted. I'm so sure some of you guys are like, yeah, but there's no before and after. Guys, it doesn't really matter. If I have a sales page and I have 5 case studies and it's like Atlanta dentist, Chicago dentist, West Palm Beach dentist, Austin dentist, and all that you see is call volume, and then 35 calls a week, 70 calls a week, 40 calls a week, 50 calls a week on the page, and then below each one, you see a crappy testimonial, not even a good, well-scripted out testimonial, right? That says, Joe's an expert when it comes to Google My Business. If you really want help ranking in Google and getting phone calls, talk to Joe. Isn't that all that you need? Who said that you need a before and after? This is bullshit. So many of you guys complain and have complained for quite literally years. Some of you guys have been following me for close to a decade, and you've complained that you don't have case studies and you don't have results. You can do it in fucking 7 days. They only care for the after. I'm not saying deceive them. Don't show a before and after if you only have an after, right? But there's no reason that you can't do this in 7 days or less from today, okay? What I shared with you guys so far, this isn't groundbreaking things. I'm sure that you've looked at this and been like, yeah, that makes sense. But some of you guys are fighting me tooth and nail through each and every one of these steps, and you're kind of fucking rolling your eyes. But you wonder why your business is where it is right now. I've been where you are. I am where you are. I'm one of you, and these are my takeaways. And I definitely suggest that you follow these. That's the difference, I believe, between a successful agency and a not successful agency. And when it comes down to it, success is not just revenue. Trust me. What you care about once you start bringing in money and once you start filling your pocket is going to be very different than what you care about when you're just trying to shove your pocket full of money. It's going to change. You need to predict that, and you need to be ready for it. The other thing at the end of the day, folks, is you got to understand that there's an end to business. Business isn't everything. I love what I do, don't get me wrong, but you should be building everything with the intent that you want to sell it at the end of the day. What do you think your business is worth if you're a random provider that does a bunch of useless bullshit for a bunch of different niches? Guys, I'm sorry, I love you. That's why I'm having this conversation. All right, this is tough love. If you haven't picked a niche, what do you think the chances are that somebody wants to buy you? Probably not very high. If you don't have your packaging down and you don't have a set package that you deliver and that you sell 90% of the time, again, and make it easy for fulfillment, right? What are the chances that somebody wants to buy you? That means you're stuck in the business that you've built.
Thanks for tuning in and Show Me the Nuggets. If you've been enjoying the podcast and find our content helpful, please visit our Apple Podcast page, hit the subscribe button, and leave us a review. Joe and the whole team have been working hard to bring more value to the show. Your feedback will go a long way in helping us make the show better and reach a wider audience.